All right, good evening. So, I got kind of a lot to talk about this week. It's been a lot actually, and it's very strange. A lot of this is very strange for me. So, because it's like, you ever seen that guy that's doing like the conspiracy board with all the like the fucking beautiful mind shit, right? That's kind of what this week has been like. Is like all these things are interconnected somehow. So. Um, Basically, what we do is we do a quick meme review of all the stuff I've kind of memed on during the week, and then we kind of diverge into tabs talking about things that are going on or things that I've noticed in the games industry and whatnot. So we'll be seeing where that takes us. So the first first one, I don't know why this one. I saw this template and it just spoke to me on a spiritual level, and I don't know why. Um, And the key question is like, when I post something, is this over the top rage bait? It's like, yeah, sometimes, but sometimes it's not that crazy, right? And then I'll see a post from like Spiky Bits or Bell of Lost Souls saying like GW is done for, you know, GW huge L, and it's like, no, I'm really not that bad. So that was the first thing that jumped out at me. And then, strangely enough, this came up. A friend of mine shared this with me, and he is a furry, and he was like, "Bro, I know a furry artist when I see one, and this is it." I had to actually link this a couple of times to people from their drive-through RPG page because they refused to believe that this was real, especially with this art style. And it's like, uh, I have no words. But strangely enough, it's actually interconnected to a couple of things in general to do with Shadowrun. Because I don't know if you guys heard about this, but this is a thing. They basically stealth drop these on their web store on the Catalyst Game Labs store, and it's just shocking that it's like they're just like, yeah, no, we just dropped this, lol. And I haven't heard anything about it. There was nothing in the Tuesday News Days about it, which they usually use to cover that kind of stuff. So it's just kind of like, where did this come from? So let me see if I can pull these up in a different tab here. I love how when you go to CGL's website, you can't really zoom in effectively on the product. So we'll start here. Share this tab. So this right here, this is interesting because this is Savage Threats, and it's yes, because that's exactly what I want to do. Jesus, there we go. All right, so we've got a Cerberus Hound, an Oni Assassin, a Dwarf Ghoul, and a Stalker Chimera. Now, I don't play Shadowrun. I read kind of read what it was about, and for some reason, you would think, right? It's like cyberpunk and D&D. You're taking these two things and you're blending them, and it should be like peanut butter and chocolate, right? It should just work. But for whatever reason, this Shadowrun just does nothing for me. And the fact that CGL keeps running Kickstarters for it that seem to act like financial batteries for BattleTech or their other games is kind of a mystery to me, if I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. And then they've got the Sprawl Runners, which has this interesting little. One of the guys has this interesting little fire effect. Flywheel, he's a troll mage. Boris, he's a human street Sam. I don't know what that is. Bomb Bomb, which is an elf decker. Coco, an orc technomancer, and Legs, a dwarf face rigger. Don't know what any of these. Don't know what any of these mean. If only there was a large industry event to reveal these at. I know, right? If there was only like con for like gens, a Gen Con, if you will, or a con for adepts, an Adepticon, if you will. So, whoops, no, what did I do? I suck at streaming. Corporate threats. There we go. Share, and then we got the corporate. Whoops, at the stage. There we go. So that's the sprawl runners, and then. Sorry, I have the smoothest of brains today. I apologize. There we go. That's the tab I want. Add to stage. There we go. Jesus, I'm dumb. So, anyways, this is the corporate threats, which is Corp Security, Augmented Bounty Hunter, Security Captain, Renraku Red Samurai, Riot Control, and Centrifugal Drone. So, again, if you're a Shadowrun player, I'm happy for you. I am over the moon that you are finally getting miniatures for your game that nobody fucking plays. Congratulations. And speaking of RPGs that are only going to be dead on arrival, we've got this, which is called Avarice, the Morningstar RPG. Now, I came to know about this because people were just going gaga online about this short series of like animated YouTube stuff that was really well done, and I agree. But it was like, for me, it was just like, okay, they're trying to get around. They're trying to get around GW IP licensing, so they're just, they're making their bootleg Space Marines, and apparently Rem Alternus is talking about this. She's still doing the Tuesday News Days apparently, and it's very strange to me because she's talking about it, and she talked about it in a Tuesday News Day, which we'll get to later. And as far as I can find, I have not been able to find anything about them, about this company called Fat Goblin Games. And it's ironic that they're called Fat Goblin Games, and they're working with Rem Alternus. If you know, you know. So I'm like, okay, what is this? So I went to their website. Blank. So let's go to blogs and news. A grimdark sci-fi RPG for fans of far future universes and the 2D20 system. So they did. They actually, I think that might have been where the conversation went. We're going to get to that Tuesday News Day recap here in a sec. Shots fired. Yep. We're calling balls and strikes here, my guy. That's what we do. So the premise is that far future universe in which humanity has become an ancient species dominating a region of stars which it exploits completely through a series of macro corporations that influence every aspect. So this is cyberpunk with extra. So this is grimdark cyberpunk. You're a consumer, a disposable asset working for macrocorps. Planetary syndicates are just trying to make it on your own. So, okay, so this was written by commies. All right. So, you're a consumer, a disposable asset. Shut the fuck up, commies. I'm so tired of these people co-opting the RPG space. You know what's a good RPG? Play the One Ring RPG. That system is fantastic. That's all killer, no filler. I love that system. But anywho, so they've got pre-supported STLs and for these things, Hegemony Barracan and Shigu Warstriders. Oh my god, is that like Migu? Is that like Migu's alien cousin? Oh my god, Migu. So yeah, this is just grimdark bullshit. So it's grimdark bullshit, and it's very 40K derivative, but with a cyberpunk megacorp slant to it. And It's always confident when the company that's asking that's going to run a Kickstarter. You go to their about section and it's fucking blank. That's always reassuring. Right? See, this is I'm not losing my mind. So all right, and then so I kind of had a moment because I bought the starter box, the brand new, the Brave New World Ill Clan era um, starter box, and I was shocked at the lack of value. It was really I was not prepared. It didn't have the record sheets that the old boxes had. It didn't have the short story to kind of ground you in the universe. It had none of that stuff. And it's like, damn. Um, it's like I don't know. It's so I kind of had this moment where I'm like, guys, I think GW might be the lesser of two evils. And then I came to my senses because GW came out with the stealth price rise. Hey, Conflict Horizon, what up, though? This is like some YouTuber made a video about BattleTech lore that ages poorly and went on a rant for some real world people put in the 2010 era of BattleTech and the megaquarks like Apple. Yeah, exactly. Uh, it's very, it's very, it's very derivative. It feels very forced. But so speaking of evil mega corporations, so it came out that GW had on their, I guess their portal that you order stuff in, if you're like a retailer that deals with them, their wholesale portal, they put a warning in there saying, hey, a bunch of stuff is going to go up in price in the next, in September. So it's like only a couple of percentage points, but it's like, god damn, dude, Jesus. Yeah, exactly. So this was kind of an interesting side side detour for me because GW is, they're the nobody likes it. I don't particularly enjoy it, but they are the 800-pound gorilla in the gaming space, and it's really funny too because we had there was a guy I was listening to a podcast. Oh, dude, yeah, shrinkflation is real. But I was watching this podcast, and there was this guy who was like one of the used to be like a head sales rep for the North America for GW, and he was talking to this guy, and he said, yeah, so I was actually the head of distribution for Coca-Cola uh, in New England. That's what my job was, and then I got the job working with GW, and Coca-Cola's revenue from just the New England area versus the revenue that GW is pulling in, GW makes less in revenue than the New England area makes for Coca-Cola. So you kind of get the idea of scale. Like, yes, GW is a huge company compared to all the other game companies in the space currently. But in the grand scheme of things, you know, bigger companies can buy and sell them with the pocket chains between their couch cushions. So it's really interesting where you kind of get that perception of like, oh, they're big, but they're not as big as we thought. Like again, in game company terms and tabletop game company terms, they're a huge force, and they're a force to be reckoned with. And yeah, so I it's really interesting to see what GW does and how they move as a company from, the aspect of somebody who actually studied and has a business degree, and you kind of look at what they're doing. It's kind of scummy, but yeah, this is probably what they got to do to make the shareholders happy. Number go bigger, Bert. Um, Speaking of 40K fans, this was a real headline from, I believe it was Screen. Oh, jeez. Jeez. Here we go. Photos. Yeah, this was a real screenshot from Indeed, there always is a bigger fish. So this was a dead ass headline from Screen Rant about. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Halo meets Lord of the Rings. Yeah, is this like exploded my fucking brain when I read this, and it wants me to sign in. Fuck off, Screen Rant. Yeah, so this is a dead ass article that I'm violating my browser to just be on this goddamn thing. Few military sci-fi franchises balance both halves of the equation as effectively as Halo. Shut the fuck up. Whether it's the games, the books, the live-action series, Halo is the perfect blend of gritty military action with jaw-dropping science fiction spectacle. The only thing that lacks is lore as deep as it deserves. Alien technology and ancient mystery surrounding Master Chief and his fellow Spartans suggest a much larger mythology, but the franchise has yet to explore much beyond its central conflict and time period. What the fuck? Tell me you zero real competition within the space allows them to do as they please. Yeah, this is absolutely true. They had that. Catalyst had a window. They had a window for like a hot second to actually make an impact, and I think the Kickstarter, the Mercenary and the Clan Invasion Kickstarters are indicative of that. And now CGL is failing to capitalize on that. We'll kind of talk about that, but this is just this Screen Rant article gave me fucking psychic damage, so I want to talk about it. So, alongside the reemergence of the Flood, aspects like the Forerunners and the origin of the Ring worlds are touched upon, but not explored in detail they deserve. Fortunately, an upcoming Amazon Prime series will bring satisfyingly deep lore to a universe Halo fans are bound to love. After decades of games and novels, Warhammer 40k is not getting one, but two shows. Oh, dude, yeah. That's me. I'm Halo fans that hate most of the lore after 2011. That's me. That's myself. Originating as a tabletop miniatures game before branching out into multiple mediums, Warhammer 40,000 is a sci-fi universe set in the 41st millennium, where humanity fights an endless war against multiple alien races, corrupted supernatural forces of chaos, and itself. Amazon plans both to include an animated series spinning off from Secret Level and a live-action show spearheaded by superfan Henry Cavill. Halo enthusiasts should be paying attention, since 40k brings the exact military sci-fi flavor of Master Chief's missions and lore that runs as deep as fantasy classics as Lord of the Rings. Who in the fuck wrote this? Of course he looks like that. Of course he does. Like, how can you look like that and not know what 40k is? Jesus Christ. I am Conflict Horizon. I am cautiously optimistic. I am not hopeless. I am still glass half empty, but there is a glass on the table and it has liquid in it. I guess that's where I'm at. Apparently Henry Cavill has been like really like relentless and ruthless with the writing staff. They basically have a 3 strikes rule that, after they write something, he goes over it and he tells them what to change, and if they keep fucking up, after 3 strikes they're out. So that's gonna be, I think is interesting. Every time between you flashbang my brains with complete bullshit. I'm sorry. A tourist wrote it. Dude, exactly. This is a dude that doesn't know anything. He doesn't know anything about Halo. He doesn't know anything about Warhammer 40k, because like Halo is its own thing. It's a very unique entity as far as like the aesthetics and, big man in power armor, not really unique, right? But the way it's presented, the fact that he was a kidnapped child, and that, okay, maybe this is starting to sound like a little bit like 40K. Anyways, but the basic premise of both is, it's more. How would I say this? How would I characterize Halo? It's funny. I've been a fan of this game since that series, since Halo 2, and I actually went back to retroactively play Halo 1 after I played Halo 2, and then I've just been a Halo fan ever since. So it's like for it's weird you're missing the forest for the trees, right? Like, how would I describe Halo? I would describe Halo as, oh, I don't know. It's hard to quantify. Um, it's hard to quantify what Halo is, because it is so unique. On the surface, it's big man in power armor, kill alien, save human, right? But then you have the level of, writing and allegory and religious imagery that kind of pile on top of each other. And then you have the interplay of different characters and whatnot. So it's really interesting, the way that Halo balances that. Warhammer 40,000 is gothic science fantasy. It has very little DNA in common with Halo. So for somebody to look at, let's see, if somebody to look at this and say they put the Master Chief in the soda, right? That they think that's just fucking Master Chief, right? Um, that's retarded. That's deeply brain damaged. And Control, that wouldn't have happened. So that is a decision that GW made. Now, that the line of causation was Aaron Dudsky Bowden, who is still, as I believe, an author with Warhammer. Um, he is a dyed-in-the-wool male feminist commie. So everything that he writes is written from the perspective of somebody who's been abandoned by their father, or whose father was a shitty person, because his dad, according to his telling, was a shitty person and abandoned his mom and him. So every book that he writes has a slant towards the feminine, and that's why you see like so much, conflict of fathers hating sons, sons hating fathers in his work, because that's kind of his trauma that he uses. Now, he wrote, and it was a short story, and basically said to Black Library, hey, I want to put I want to imply that they're female custodes. And they're like, well, you can do that, but we don't have any we don't sell miniatures for them. So he's like, okay, we'll just do that. So he did that. And then GW started, they slipped it, that somebody was like, hey, very specific, this is the lore for custodians. They were the sons of nobility on Terra, blah blah blah. And then some bright spark, some fucking social media manager over at that runs the GW X account, or the Warhammer 40,000 X account, since the founding of the 10,000, there have always been female custodes. There is no war in Ba Sing Se, we have always been at war with East Asia moment. And rightly so, it was called out, and they were lampooned by the fans. And I think GW hasn't really walked it back, but they don't talk about it, certainly. It's sad that most hobby spaces are being taken over by tourists due to the mainstreamification of everything. I miss ever being a small community. Dude, I agree. Because the thing is, like, when I was growing up, I graduated high school in 2004. So I was the internet was just starting to become really a thing that was easily accessible to a lot of people. And you still had to find out, okay, there's a game store. I got to go to the game store. Hey, do you guys play on days XYZ? And there was a social stigma, and there was a social cost to being into being a hobby, being into Warhammer 40,000, being into BattleTech, being into D&D, there was a social stigma and a social cost that you had to pay directly, in that somebody would see you with a book reading. I would, I had BattleTech TRO, and I would read it during homeroom. I got called the F word like multiple times. I got called a sissy F word because I'm 6'4" and I didn't want to play football because I hated all the people on my football team. So I ran cross country. And there was a social cost to being a nerd. And now being a nerd, it's trendy, it's chic, it's cool, right? There's next to nobody that, it's like if somebody says, like, in casual conversation, like, oh yeah, no, I'm a big D&D fan. People nowadays wouldn't recoil in horror, or the dude in the group wouldn't go call you a sissy or call you the F word or call you a slur, right? That just doesn't happen anymore. And once that social stigma, that social cost, you didn't have to pay that. You can just say you're a nerd and not actually be a nerd. Were you blinded by Halo's beauty? Oh God, I love that fucking speech. I miss Halo for what it was. The allegory of the series has been lost. 3 has no understanding of it. Yeah, it's really shocking. It's really shocking. Someone exposed it. Yep, over 40 is the last number generation. I'm just at 40. I'm just at 40. So it's almost impossible to find a player squadron in a space game I have. They're literally all toxic in the alphabet. It's tough, man. It's tough. It's and I guess here's the thing, right? So when I was growing up, we had, it was the freaks and the geeks, right? You had your people that nowadays the trendy term for them would be called neurodivergent. But back then, it's like fucking spaz. Why are you such a fucking spaz? So like you had this mixing pot of people with different opinions, and it was very chill, and it was very loose, and everyone was bonded by the fact that they were socially ostracized on some level, because they were, as a reminder, this is back when bullying was a thing. This was back in the day when people just bully you mercilessly, and I think we need to bring that back, to be perfectly honest with you. So you had people that were, the people that had ADD, ADHD, that were mildly autistic. You had these people with these traits, and they will all come together because of their social ostracism. I can't speak. How they were being socially ostracized, as well as the fact that you all had to pay that social cost for being there, right? So that's the main thing. And now trauma, disabilities, neurodivergence, those have all turned into social currencies. And now, instead of being like, oh, I'm sorry, I have a hard time with emotions, I have autism, it's like, and the response being in the person like, shut the fuck up, spaz. Instead of somebody saying that, you say, oh my God, you poor child, you're so great, you're so brave, it's like, bro, where was this energy when there was kids that I knew that were legitimately autistic, and they got put in the sped classes with the rest of the spazzes because they couldn't read the teacher's emotions, because they didn't know the teacher's husband was banging the secretary, right? Like, how do we, like, what do we do? Like it's either all okay or it's not okay. So for me, there that loss of social stigma, that loss of ostracism, being, I want to say ostracization. No, that's not how you pronounce that. Jesus Christ. Being socially ostracized. That unity that being outcast and ostracized brings is, I think, really important. And that's why we have so many of these fucking. Look at this. Look at this asshole. Look at this fucking asshole. I bet the biggest trauma this guy's ever experienced was when his dad took his PS5 away. Shut the fuck up. I'm not listening to you, senior staff writer Tom Russell. Kiss my ass. So basically this talks about like, hey, this is, if you like Halo, you'll like this and this, that, and the other thing. And so it's just comparing Jesus, this continuous image. It was absolutely like that. Yeah, it was. The thing about that game is there's nothing to do and no reason to play if you don't have multiplayer and role play. That's possibly rare to find a good group nowadays. Yeah, no, because it's all overrun with these people that think their psychological or physical disabilities entitles them to run to just get away with everything. Yep. All the teachers at school have breakdowns and wild tantrums, so they're not role models. No. Your Google tracker, shut the fuck up. To collapse. Pervagin. Hey, man's gotta stay regular, right? So anyways, this whole entire bullshit is like, oh, if you like Halo, you're gonna like 40K, which is not necessarily the fucking case. So, speaking of Halo, since we're talking about shitty things that suck, I saw this, and this was so. First of all, so I was just scrolling my civilian Facebook feed, right? So I was scrolling my civilian feed, and I came across this, and it says. And the group was X-Men 97 posting, and somebody had shared it. And it was anonymous participant. Check one. Piracy isn't stealing has been repeated so many times I'm starting to think it's a loading screen tip. So it's basically like, oh, how gamers feel when they say if buying isn't owning, then privacy isn't stealing. Then what the argument sounds like trash. And then the amount of people popping off in my comments, like losing their goddamn minds, was really shocking. And it's very strange that people want to die on this particular hill. And this person pointed out any X-Men fan is retarded. But it's like, so this was, the origin of this obviously was Yves Guillemot, the president of Ubisoft, like a year ago, said that gamers have to be comfortable not owning their games, and that's when. Oh no, I'm not on Twitter. I'm not at Twitter at all. I value my sanity and blood pressure too much. It is. It's really funny to see these guys being like, protect the developers' jobs. Okay, we'll buy the next game by the developers if the developers make a good game. And then they go, not like that. So it's like, damn, bro, pick a lane, pick a struggle already, right? So you gotta pick a struggle. Like, if you want me to buy your game, sell me a game worth buying. Oh, dude, that was like one of the first things that got posted. It was right here. So, I don't know. This one was just kind of wacky to me. And then I saw the new Wolverine game is just getting absolutely fucking bodied in the comment. And basic on social media and Twitter and whatever, and it's like, you hate to see it. You hate to see it. It's an Insomniac game. Um, the face scan on all the characters looks like dog shit. The action looks linear and button mashing. It's Sweet Baby Ink involved. The lead writer wrote, teen marginalized, marginalized fiction for teens or some bullshit, some commie nonsense. So to see Insomniac getting bodied and having their HR person tweeting on fucking Twitter going, it's like, oh, the psychological cost of the gameplay, the reaction to the gameplay is really high. It's like, well, fucking don't make a shitty game. That's how that works. People won't shit on you if they make a good game. Yeah, exactly. So it's a PS5 only game. So it's a PS5 exclusive. So it's not gonna get to PC for like years probably, unless they have the PC port in the hopper ready to rock. It's not going to Xbox. It's like two out of the three possible delivery platforms. You're gatekeeping it to PS5, and it looks like dog shit. It looks possibly Wolverine shit. So it's like you're making this a tough sell for me. You're making this an absolutely tough sell. That the gameplay looks awful, the graphics look mid, the 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 voice acting and the action and the cutscenes that we see look terrible. They won't port them anymore. Oh wow, yeah, that game. Apparently, they spent $300 million on that fucking game. And I want to let's see YouTube's. Let's see. Wolverine PS5. Okay, I'm gonna watch this actually. This shit is. It's not PC released to help sell PS5 because the PS6 is a few years away. Like the PS6 has no games. I'll pause the old BGM here, and we'll share this taboo. Remember that when that used to mean something?
Wait.
Jesus Christ, she looks like shit. Like, god damn, dude. Like, Insomniac, what are you doing? What are you doing, baby girl? Wait a second. Wait a second. Jumanji. Monkey. Boy. Okay. Hold, please. Please to be holding. Oh no. There you go. That's your Wolverine. Holy shit. That's amazing. Thanks, man. Have a good night. It's called Wolverine. It's called Marvel's Wolverine. It is a new action RPG. Whoop, dehumidifier went off again. Pleased to be holding. I gotta go empty that real fast. Okay. Dude, I don't know, JC. All right. I liked the original X-Men cartoon when I was a kid. Um, Spider-Man 3 got announced. I just want to make a new Ratchet and Clank, but I feel like I've gone, yeah, no, so that's the thing, right? Yep. Yep. It's funny because like you have all these companies that are like Insomniac, Monolith, RIP Monolith, Insomniac, Monolith, um, Naughty Dog. You had all these great companies, and they've just become shit because they lost all the talented people. They either push them out in favor of DEI hires or diversity hires, or they push them out in favor of of this brave new world they're trying to create.
You came back. Now see things before.
Humans and mutants can't survive together.
This all just looks very mid. Like it's just very screamingly mid.
I've tried to keep them safe for so long.
Fucking trash.
Inside now!
I thought you were back. We were back.
What? Yeah. What's it called? King, Tulsa King. I found Sabretooth. It's really uncanny. Like, damn, bro. Not an original thought knocking around in their fucking heads at that studio. Jesus Christ. I don't. That's supposedly supposed to be. Wolverine has a twin. Jesus. Yeah. So.
We're gonna build the future for mutants. That is why you belong here.
Logan rides the motorcycle. You remember? Yeah, I remember.
Tear the beast. The hunt is ready.
Most people I see clearly. But you.
See, he had the eye patch. His patches. That's a callback. That's a reference.
Just give in.
So we got a Mega Red. We saw Deathstrike.
Remember who you are.
Yeah, this game looks mid as fuck. Aren't we all? Aren't we all, Jonathan? Aren't we all? Oh, absolutely unintended segue. This happened in real life. This actually fucking happened to me. It blew my fucking brain out. Oh my god. So yeah, it does, doesn't it? Purge the demon. Yeah. So get this. So story time. So I was watching my parents' dog. They live about an hour away from me. So they get back, and I'm like, okay, I gotta get back. It was Thursday, so I'm like, okay, I gotta get back. I gotta do all my grocery shopping. I gotta do all the stuff. So I was basically on the move from about. This was pretty bespoke, actually. This was, oh, yeah, this one has a lot going on. So, I had like two fucking granola bars for lunch, for breakfast, and I'm like, I'll skip. I'll eat lunch on the road. I'll get a Mickey D's. I'll get a McDonald's meat cookie, right? And then, traffic was really bad. Uh, Traffic was really bad. I got home. I unpacked all my stuff that I had, my overnight stuff, and I'm like, man, I gotta get on stream. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. So like, I really had to hit it hard. So I went to Costco, or Sam's Club, and I'm like, it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, God damn, I haven't had a thing to eat since those two like fig bars that I had, um earlier this morning, right? So so I belly up to the bar at the, Sam's Club, and, I start. I'm like, hey, can I get a couple of slices of pepperoni? Okay, cool, fine. And I'm waiting there. Get stuffed animal costume. Well, yeah, that's pretty close though. We went to People of Walmart's more exclusive cousin Sam's Club. It was at a Sam's Club, JC. Actually, it was hand to God. It was my local Sam's Club. And so I'm there, and I see this thing moving out of the corner of my eye, and I look. I literally had to do a fucking double take because I'm like, nah, there ain't no way. There ain't no way. So I look over, and this individual was, she was like putting her paws together, like if you like picture, like to have your hands out in front of you, put your thumbs together, and then like pull your arms forward like you're doing kind of like a praying mantis pose. She was doing that, and then she was like kicking her feet up and down, and she was just like vibing and dancing. I think those might have been headphones right there. I think that might have been headphones right there. Um, no, dude, she was a civilian. She was just a person that decided this is what she wanted. So I took a picture on the fly, and I kind of felt kind of dirty doing it, but at the same time, I knew that if I didn't take a fucking picture, nobody would believe me. So yeah, yeah, have to curb your dogs. So JC, this here's the kicker, right? So I'm standing there, I get my pizza. Yeah. The surface animal harvest. So I sit down, I'm eating my pizza, and I'm like, I'm just trying to ignore this going on. And and I'm like, oh my God, what is my fucking life right now? Am I like, am I overtired? Am I hallucinating because I didn't sleep really well last night? Like, what is going on that this is actually happening? And she pulls off her mask to order. She's a very conventionally attractive young black lady, and I'm like, I'm very confused. She looked like a normal person. She got a couple of big ass pretzels that they sell at Sam's Club. She got a couple of them, and she walked out. And she got into like a fucking Lexus, and I'm like, Stormcrow, this is evidence. This is evidence that I actually, unironically encountered a furry, in the wild. So that's what you're seeing. So so I'm walking out. So I finish my pizza. I throw my pizza down my neck. I check out. I got get my stuff checked out, and I'm going to my car. And I see this young lady. She's kind of walking like parallel to me, and I'm just looking at her because I'm just floored. Because she's beautiful. She's like an 8 out of 10, and she has her two pretzels, and she gets into like a brand new Lexus, and I'm like, I'm very puzzled. Like, You like, I don't know. It's very strange. It's always the quiet ones. Yep. Instead of a bitch flashbacks viewers do scars them. Yeah. So that's my furry story. So I posted this as fucking evidence because I knew nobody would believe me. But finally, ripping it to BattleTech. BattleTech introduced their three new boxes that they're going to release. The Bug Mac Company, which I have some thoughts. So Bug Mac Company is supposed to be kind of like a horde company. It's supposed to be nothing but light mechs, and it's a play on the horde tactics utilized by, I think it was Taisho, or, yeah, Taisho, Mercer Ravnian. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that right. Um, he was doing the thing where he's like, "Oh, if I take a bunch of fucking stingers and wasps, I can overwhelm the enemy." It's like, okay, that's cool. That's a shitty theory, but I'm happy for you, you know. So they're going to release this box, and it's two stingers, two wasps, um, two locusts, two spiders, a cicada, a flea, and two fireflies. Now I have some concerns. So my first concern is that the flea and the firefly were effectively, I mean, what a big company box for years. Yeah. So here's the thing, right? For 2 years, Jesus. Won't see it for another 8 months. I believe it. So so you would have to kind of take this company as like a post, at least a post clan invasion set, because unless you were doing something crazy like Wolf's Dragoons, because the flea and the fireflies were functionally extinct in the air sphere before the dragoons showed up, right? So that's number one. And the spiders were not all that common. I know you play the Harebrained Schemes BattleTech game, and apparently everybody and their goddamn brother has a spider hiding in their closet. It is in fact um, it is in fact um, very rare, those mechs. So the fact that like half this box, a good chunk of this box, is like rare mechs, and that you only get variants for two of them, when we have a variant for the wasp, as well as the. I don't think we have a variant for the stinger, like a variant version. Like I don't know why they have this two of the same wasp, but it should be, you know, the wasp from the Wolf's Dragoon set. I think is the one that we got with all the small lasers. Kelto. So so after the clan invasion, we have actually the FedCom Civil War, which is the breakup of the Federated Commonwealth, which is two halves of uh, the Federated Sons and the Lyran Commonwealth. So they break up. And they basically have a civil war because, trying to remember all the, the broad strokes of it. Victor Steiner Davian, who is in charge of the Federated Sons half, who is nominally the first prince of the Federated Commonwealth, who's his firstborn son, gets usurped by his sister Catherine, and she takes over both realms while he's fighting the clans. So what they did is they basically had a safe civil war happening. Um, and it ended up with Catherine being imprisoned on a planet, and Victor, you know, saying, "Hey, the Federated Commonwealth is dead," and then after that, all the heads of state get together in the inner sphere because they had founded the Star League again, and they basically said, "You know what? This was kind of a political scheme to get us to the end point of keeping the clans from invading any further, and we've done that. And now the Star League serves no purpose. So they dissolved the Star League. Word of Blake throws a fucking shit fit, and then you have the Word of Blake. Uh, you have the Word of Blake um, launch their jihad, and that's when you have kind of That's where you have all the jihad bullshit go on. Then after the Board of Blake Jihad, you have the Republic era, where the Republic of the Sphere is formed kind of from the hub of worlds around Terra, or as well as a lot of the more densely populated worlds in the Inner Sphere, because those were the most fought over. So a lot of them were ceded territory or conquered territory by the Republic of the Sphere. And then you have the Dark Age, which is the HPG network goes down, and then you have the Oakland era. The new core box can be played in any era. What? Seems like their mech choices on the new boxes seem to go together at a bar, sitting down, saying random bullshit. Go, yep. Or units get deleted. Mom gets assassinated by the sister and blaming Victor and blaming her. Yes, that was. I was trying to not to go too far into the weeds. So House Davian wasn't the strongest because you had a lot of Lyran units from the Lyran side fighting for Victor, and you had some units from the Suns fighting for Catherine. So it was just a giant clusterfuck of a situation, and that's the FedCom Civil War. So that's what happens after the clan invasion era effectively ends. But yeah, just kind of a random assortment of mechs, and none of them really sit particularly well outside of a very specific time period, which is post clan invasion, when really this could have been, it's either post clan invasion or pre succession wars, or like early succession wars, when some of these mechs were still around, specifically the Flea and the Fireflies. Um, and then we have the Clan Wolf fighter points. So you get 3 points of fighters. So you basically get, so each fighter point for the clans is two fighters per element. So you get I think a Jagatai, a Jing. So you get I think this is the Jengas, the Jagatai, and then the Chironia. Yeah, Herbert Bass took away all the Inner Spheres toys, exactly. 3054, yeah, thank you. And this kind of came out of nowhere, and apparently this is going to tie into another Kickstarter called Incursion that they talked about during Gen Con, one of the Gen Con live streams, which is like, I'm sure there's no possible way for that to go wrong. Waka waka. So this is actually Clan Wolf. I'm sure that Mercenaries box is no longer going to be printed, hence the flea being in the bug box for now. That's fucking strange. They're not going to make the Clan Invasion box anymore. Those mechs are going into their own force pack. And the nice plastic elementals that we had, apparently those are still MIA because they were going to redo them in a different material, and then they were like, we can't actually do that in a different material because we don't have the skill for it. So apparently we're probably just going to get those back at some point soon, trademark. And then you have the House Steiner, which is 2 Chippewa, 2 Sadelets. I don't know what those are. I can't remember what the fuck those are. But yeah. So this is the House Steiner thing. So this is actually, as an aerospace lance, is 2. Basically announced that all their miniature products are one-time print runs. I'm going to need a source for that. That seems stupid. That seems really stupid. If I can get a citation on that, Death Jester, that'd be nice. But yeah, so this is, let's say Chippewas, and then I'm not sure what these 2 aerospace fighters are. I'm not a big aerospace guy, so blame it on my head, not my heart. And then I reviewed the starter box, and I was underwhelmed. The mercenary box are going out of print, the new core rules coming out, so obviously those miniatures, new force packs to be sold in. Yeah. Lucifers, thank you. I appreciate that, Mookie Dog. I didn't know what those were. Okay, cool. Thank you. I appreciate it. For some reason, it was lurking in the back of my head, but I couldn't. For some reason, I couldn't remember it. So I did review the Clan Invasion, the starter box. It's the Contio and the Hammerhead. We have the Hammerhead already in um, one of the Star League strike lances, stars. It's fine. The token sheet is not a full token sheet; it's like a half token sheet. Like you, so it's smaller than what we got in either the Essentials or the original two beginner boxes. We had no short story to kind of ground you in the universe, which um, we only got two pilot cards for the mechs. We didn't actually get any cards for the standees, and um, we got the kind of the dry erase record sheets, the half record sheets for the starter game. So I feel like overall it's less content for almost $5 more than what the original boxes were retailing for. The original boxes were retailing for $24.99. The new box is $29.99. So it's pretty irritating personally. You can definitely see eh, that they're trying to trim costs as like a quick way to kind of get stuff out. Speaking of cringe BattleTech shit, this came across my this came across my. Let's see. Let's catch up on chats. How's it doing business? Correct amount of fingers, unlike Space Marine we saw a while ago. Yep. We're going to be cannibalizing the mechs and splitting them up into different force packs. Yep. It was due to legal issues where CGL couldn't sell miniatures and sold game pieces. IWM was one that was allowed to sell singles. Morons. They sold in force packs due to rights being. Yeah. That makes sense. And let's go to the back. Tired of plastic models being in this force packs. Yeah. So Punished Frank, what I think um what I think personally that they should be doing, um, or I think personally what you should do if you're a game player, if you play BattleTech and you buy a starter pack and you have like a game group, just ask like who wants to horse trade. Like, hey, I'm gonna buy this box, you buy this box, I'm gonna trade you this piece for this piece. You almost have to play it like a collectible miniatures game almost, which is really deeply ironic, considering what they did with the Dark Age. So it's really interesting that that's kind of what you have to do, or you have to kind of flip them and sell them. Not sure how that changes things in terms of CGL being able to sell miniatures. That's a good point. Less popular mechs to be sold and lowers the amount of SKUs to keep track of, but CGL being CGL. Yeah, dog, for real. But yeah, I made a comment about No Guts, No Galaxy. He had talked with Big Red um, quite a bit. Um, Talked about Big Red quite a bit, and it was pretty. And I was like, yeah, no, I don't need to see this shit in my timeline. So sometimes the algorithm is like, hey, do you like this? I'm like, oh, thanks for reminding me. I didn't get around to blocking these assholes yet. JC, can I share your anecdote about Big Red? Type it in chat if that's okay. We'll come back to it. And this is actually kind of for some reason I had this graphic and I wanted to use it somehow, and I this is one of my favorite art pieces by Doug Chafee, who actually did a bunch of the early technical readout art for the BattleTech technical readouts, and it was basically me saying like, very nice. I remember, I remember when Big Red was a 40K channel. Um, I remember him when he used to work with Bell of Lost Souls, back when people thought Bell of Lost Souls was used to going to. Yeah, so this was actually my post about FedCom Civil War because it's like, damn, that shit was crazy, bro. Um, so yeah, that was pretty much it. So I think that's good for the meme wrap up. And then some brave soul here, Lorcan, he is forced to listen to the Newsday Tuesday news days and summarize them. So BattleTech new releases bug companies will be 69.99 out now. Oh, okay, out now. So what they're out now is Targets Up by John David Karnitz. I don't know who that is. Activity Book 4, These Violent Ends by Brian Young. How the hell is this guy so productive? What does he do all day? Does he just sit and write and do nothing else? Like this is Stephen King levels of productivity. Like how much blow is he doing to have him be this productive? Based on it might be AI to be perfectly honest with you because I'm reading through this Ghost of Tim Cavici book. God damn, this is a piece of shit, and it's like, dude, slow down. It's a quantity over quality thing. The starter box got released. MUL is set to go live the first week of September. Josh Perrion will do a Tuesday News Day soon to discuss. So, MUL is the original MUL is going to be taken offline. So there might be a significant time span when you probably won't have access to the MUL. And from what I understand, you have a lot of the other list building apps that people have made, um, MechBay and stuff like that. They use a lot of the APIs from MUL. Those are going to be broken, so I do not envy those guys trying to reestablish their feed. I think they'll ever do another book like Objective Race again. Man, I don't know. I was provided a copy of Hotspot's Hinterlands, and it was pretty bad. Um, I was deeply unimpressed with it. It was basically like how to run a campaign and who you would fight in these areas, as opposed to being like a real like good source book. And they're doing this thing that they used to do during the jihad, which is they're injecting like news reports and like personal you know like in universe person people talking back and forth about different events and stuff like that. It didn't work in the jihad. I don't know why they're doing it now because it sucked then and it still sucks. Stops by our store every now and again. Brian and others will write stories up, and CGL will take months and months, sometimes longer, before releasing. That's very strange. Tell Brian your boy says hi. If you see it next. A reprint of Alpha Strike Commander's Edition is in production. Now that's interesting because Alpha Strike references. I have my book somewhere around here, but um, no, it doesn't actually. No, so that'll be interesting. I'm interested interested to see what kind of changes they make on that reprint. Sarna posted a review of the starter box, which was probably glowing. Uh, Battletech RPG Humble Bundle now live. Yep. Plan for episode 100 is longer episode with as many of the CGL directors as possible. Ugh. Discussion. Project Morningstar, which we talked about earlier, is blah blah blah. Dystopian future setting where greed has won. People's values are based on their credit score. If they have enough money to justify their position in the hegemon of the Thousand Empires, Avarice, a TTRPG set in the universe, is coming to Kickstarter, developed by Fat Goblin Games. Now, I don't know what any of this has to do with Catalyst. I don't know why this was even brought up, other than her being able to shill another company's product on another employer's stream, which is kind of an odd thing. I I don't think so. And honestly, I one of the things that I appreciate as a player who primarily plays Alpha Strike. Well, I'll play Total Warfare every once in a while just to get my reps in, right? But as a player, I really enjoy Alpha Strike. That's not a popular opinion, Some people really don't like Alpha Strike. Totally fine. So, but for me, one of the things I like about Alpha Strike is the spectacle it gives you, the fast play, the amount of mechs you get on the table, the amount of vehicles you get on the table, and it's actually really a good rule set. So I don't know what they could do to change Alpha Strike to make it Alpha Strike 2.0, other than tweaking things just to tweak things. I think if they were to do some sort of like rewrite, the changes to the core rules would probably be so insubstantial. They could just be an errata. Like I think I actually really like Alpha Strike's rule set. Commander's Edition, the way it seems to be out of stock. Yeah, yep. When he popped up, in the Japanese BattleTech group, dude really tries to get around like a town bike. That's the thing. Brian Young is like he's everywhere, and I don't know how he does it, other than copious amounts of caffeine, because apparently, because every other goddamn chapter in this Ghosts of Tim Cavici book, he's talking about somebody drinking fucking coffee. So he's got probably a crippling caffeine addiction, and he wonders why he's anxious all the time. Ugh. So they were talking about a new BattleTech RPG. New BattleTech RPG 2D20, or is it just Avarice? Just Avarice. There's no news on the BattleTech RPG. It's currently on hold. Oh, that's funny. We actually have a BattleTech RPG. It's called The Time of Fucking War. Dumb cow. Jesus Christ. You reprint for a little bit. I think it needed to make formations more integral part of list building because so many people tried to get rid of them. Yeah, I really enjoy the formations, and it's like it gives you a lot of cool shit to do, and I think players that play Alpha Strike and leave that part of list building off the table is really stupid. I think it's really stupid that they do that, because it adds so much more to the game, and it adds so much more depth and fun. Repeated the one from last year, whose Humble was, I got the old books plus some new ones. Yeah, no, the Humble bundle was fine. Not actually hired by CGL, so he's got to shill himself for his other books. I don't know if he writes for other IPs at the moment. I don't know, bro. I think CGL is his bread and butter right now. I think if this gig drives up, ooh, set me with the Japanese group, as he came in with English and the group is all in Japanese. And I do my best to keep it that way. And like he has a lack of respect. Well, he is a Mormon from Utah, so that wouldn't shock me at all. He's an ignorant Westerner from Utah. He probably doesn't know any better. Also forgot MechWarrior Destiny because oh my god, I'm glad somebody jogged my memory on that. CGL Destiny, yeah. Where's the core box hitting retail? Rem pinged Randall, no reply before stream ended. Why would you not know that? Why would you not anticipate having that question, and why would you not know that? Whereas Bryn hiding. So I think that is really. I did not know that. So that reinforces my reason not to read that, not to buy into the fucking Robotech RPG. Cool. I'll just stick with my old ass Palladium Games version that's in manga size format. I'm gonna keep reading that shit. Um, Here we go, JC. News about the time frame for the next CurrencyCon, probably around AdeptCon 27. Will Rem be at DragonCon? She wishes. Her next event is in Montreal with Japanime Games, and hopefully Gamehole Con. Good lord. The official date of Snowblind, it came up in the director's meeting and does not have a solid date yet. It will be late this year, if it is this year. Oh boy. When will Den of Wolves be finished? Last time Rem asked her, she was told pretty close. Will CGL be at PAX West? Some people will be attending, but probably not. Probably no booth. It's been less and less cost effective recently. Will the Shalone and Visigoth be in the future Aerospace Force Packs? Yes, that's good news. I always like the Shalone and the Visigoth. Will the core box and book be at DragonCon, or was all the stock sold at Gen Con? It's the goal, but they have to be flown in. Not sure they'll make it. Will Con 27 coincide with a new Kickstarter? Not that Rem's aware of, as they They treat her like a mushroom, keep her in the dark, and feed her shit. When will we get new aerospace? 2 force packs are at the printers now. Out Q1. Playtest continues on new Aerotech game, separate from the BSP rules in the core rulebook. Holy shit! So they took the aerospace rules completely out of the fucking core rulebook. Roller Stiki. No, so apparently she's a part timer with Catalyst, and apparently she's working with WizKids, this Fat Goblin Games that is doing this other RPG, and apparently ChessX, I've heard. So she's kind of all over the place. Game holes are like a hole in the bathroom stalls. Yeah, she probably wishes. Um, yeah, so kind of whole lot of soon. So this one kind of blew my mind. An Aerotech game separate from the BSP rules and the core rulebook. So um, yeah, that's what I'm reading. Is that if they're using Battlefield support rules for the aerospace and the new core rulebook, that's stupid. Strategic operations being kind of all over again, dude. It totally is. It's like, and that's the thing, right? The Total Warfare was the Rosetta Stone, right, for BattleTech. That's your game, right? Um, and then you have, Strat Ops, you have TAC Ops, you have all the other books. Um, Core Rulebook is a replacement for the Battle Mech Manual, not Total Warfare. That's an odd choice. That's a very strange choice. Really. Core Rulebook. So that means to play BattleTech, you can use either Alpha Strike, which is one book, or you can play the Core Rulebook, which is effectively the Battle Mech Manual, or you can play it with Total Warfare. Um, Total Warfare, you would need Strat Ops, TAC Ops, Tech Manual. I feel like I'm missing something else. So you would need depending on if you wanted to get the full depth and breadth of the BattleTech experience, you would need like 5 to 6 books. And yeah, CD tits up, Rome will jump ship to the next game and F that. Oh yeah, yeah. A unit cannot shoot an airborne aerospace unit if it doesn't have weapons with a range of at least 8. Interesting. Why buy one book when you can pretend? Yeah, dude, exactly. And the thing about BattleTech books is they're not cheap. They've never been very cheap. The core rulebook, the Total Warfare rather, Total Warfare is a thick fucking textbook sized tome, and it routinely, even when I was younger, it was retailing for like 40, 50, $60. Until if we want to play mecha focus games. I agree. I think Battlefield support rules have their moments. Um, but I also don't think that they should be the standard for playing things. But if what Stormcrow is saying is that um, the core rule book is kind of like your mech only game, and you add the Battlefield support rules for the vehicles as kind of spice, then that's one thing. But if you want to play Total Warfare, then you just play Total Warfare. But then that begs the question: if I wanted to use the core rule book with Total Warfare, because the core rule book has a bunch of updated stuff for equipment and weapons and stuff like that, and kind of like quality of life fixes, why wouldn't I play the core rule book versus Total Warfare when the core rule book is tighter, better edited, tighter experience? Yep. Don't mind the battlefield support reduction of infantry and vehicles. It makes back max OP in comparison. Aerospace rules are janky in it though. Universe book, Total Warfare, Alpha Strike book. Yep, yep, yep. Still cheaper than any Warhammer Core. Yeah, no, I totally agree. TH4 as it's it's still cheaper by a mile, but it's one of those things where Battletech has never been like, for me at least, it's never been like, hey, you gotta buy the all new, all singing, all dancing thing. It's always been kind of like a toolbox, the Total Warfare, that's your toolbox. So you get your toolbox, and then it's like, I need an impact wrench, so I'm gonna buy StratOps. I need a this, so I'm gonna go buy this other book. So it's BattleTech has never been like one of those. It's always been a really simulative, rules intense system, but at the same time, like, I never got the feeling that the companies, whatever companies up until Catalyst, whatever FASA, FanPro, that kind of thing, I never got the feeling they were deliberately trying to milk you for money. And then you had CGL come in, and then they broke up Strat Ops, Campaign Ops, TAC Ops, Tech Manual, and then Total Warfare. That's five fucking books right there. And now they said, "Oh, you want to play just mechs? Here's the Battle Mech Manual." Okay, cool, fine, whatever. And then you have Alpha Strike, and it's like, okay, that's its own thing. Okay, cool, excellent. And then now you have this new core rule book, which unless yeah, so which is going to have all these quality of life improvements, that kind of thing. So it's going to be interesting. Hasn't like the majority of BSP rules to Total Warfare isn't going away. Nice, yep. Rule creep, like in the old days, that caused the need for advanced rules. Mm. So BattleTech has always had like a certain amount of advanced rules, and so I don't necessarily think that this is anything new. I think that they're just louder about it because they're proud of it, when necessarily they shouldn't be. Because especially with this escalation to the Ill Clan era, a lot of the technology that would have been, or that is in Total Warfare, that would be considered advanced technology, like mixed tech platforms, mixed clan and intersphere tech platforms, clan tech weapons, intersphere on intersphere chassis, Omnimax, Omni vehicles, quads, protomechs, all that stuff. Like, a lot of that stuff was in Total Warfare, but there's a good chunk of newer equipment, like reactive armor, ballistic armor, reflective armor. You have all these other, Angel ECM, Bulldog, LAMS. You have all these things that were not in the Total Warfare experience that get expanded upon in the tech manual and Strat Ops, Campaign Ops, and TAC Ops. Um, so it's so there's always been a certain amount of like, hey, here's this new Gucci piece of equipment that we wrote into a source book. Buy the source book, and you'll have that Gucci piece of equipment. And then they would put out tech, and then Catalyst started to do the tech manual thing, where it's like, okay, now we have a separate book for all the advanced tech stuff, and then you have this, and then you have this, and you have that, and it's like, oh, Jesus Christ, okay, fine. Um, didn't change any other things that people actually complain about. That's good. LAMs need some love. Yeah, it's funny too, because the 3025 anniversary book, TRO, they put out, they actually have the new LAMs shown in there. They redid the art for the Wasp Stinger, whatever. So it's actually kind of interesting that they actually went and did that. So that's kind of neat. Um, Foot actuator damage doesn't do anything anymore. That is certainly a choice. So, um, oh, dude, yeah, land air mode is fucking busted. It's always been that way though, so I don't know. It's swings and roundabouts, I suppose. Let's see. I think that might be. I'm trying to think of anything else to talk about right now, but that's pretty much it. I had a weird weird week away from you guys because I had to do all my hither and yawning, and I saw a furry, and I took photo evidence of it, and um Real Rostiki. Sorry, man. Best we can do is an urban mech lamb that actually doesn't work in the rules, lol. They're better mechs than they are and better fighters in the air mech mode could be nerfed. Yeah. I keep it G. The Alpha Strike rules for land air lambs are actually pretty okay. Or actually yeah, the Eris, the Jade Hawk, a lot of the Jade Falcon designs, the Jade Hawk, the Eris, no, not the Eris because that's a Clan Wolf thing, oddity, but like the Jade Hawk, uh, Jare Falcon, the what is it? The Onager? Onager? Yeah. Loses pilot skill roll, but still affects MP. Interesting. Hmm. Interesting. But yeah, it's funny. I can't go to any of these conventions where they're releasing this stuff, and of course they won't release it to PDF until they actually get product stateside for retail. So it's like I'm just kind of sitting on my thumbs waiting for something to happen. Um, yeah, dude, that's one of the understated things about LAMs and aerospace in general, and you know the non-mech things in general with Alpha Strike is that um it's actually really good at allowing you to play a lot of different units and not having to look up a completely separate section of the book to do it. So that's one of my biggest pet peeves with Total Warfare. Um, my biggest pet peeves with Total Warfare is that it's very self-referential, and when I say that, I mean like you go to the infantry section, you read the infantry section, then you go to the section about battle armor, and it's like infantry can move like battle armor can move like infantry. See the infantry section. So you're going to flip back to the infantry section, and then you flip back and it's like, okay, well, it can do knee attacks. It can do this, that, and that, exactly like infantry. So you flip back to the infantry section. You flip back to the battle armor section. So it's very like it's very page flipping happy, and it's almost worth it having those little sticky note dividers to help you find stuff. Um, yeah, and I think the thing about Alpha Strike that I like is it encourages combined arms approach with infantry, mechs, and vehicles and aerospace assets. That's one of the things I really like about it, and the spectacle of that when you get that on the table. Oh my God, mwah, chef's kiss. So yeah, lyrics. Yeah, it might not be a bad idea because the benefit of Alpha Strike is it seems to be we call shelf stable, if you will, where there's very little variance in between, you know, things. So, but that's pretty much all I had to say. And we covered our Tuesday Newsday stuff and all of our weird BattleTech stuff. And I saw Furry. So I think I'm going to wrap this up, gentlemen. Thank you guys for coming out. This is like the second highest amount of people I've had coming to a stream. I really appreciate it. It means so much to me that you guys are here on my channel and you're interacting. If you guys could do the normal YouTube courtesies, like, share, subscribe. If you found this fun, insightful, useful, consider supporting me either on through the Stream Elements link or through my Ko-Fi link in the description below. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you guys coming out and have making this stream so much fun for me to do. And I will see you tomorrow for Ghosts of Tim Cavici. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Peace.